Right, and so you're suggesting that we should perhaps be bracing for an even weaker yuan. How low could we go, do you think? Some are saying 7.1, 7.2, and could we see that before the Party Congress?
Well, if you see the last cycle in 2018-2019, when actually the yuan weakened, I think the dollar CNY actually touched about 7.15, 7.16. I think that could be the reasonable target we are looking at in the near term, because to be honest, I think the pressure for yuan to weaken still remain from both fundamental perspective and from the technical perspective. If you look at the fundamental right now, I think the trade outlook is weakening and the inflation is still very muted in China, which means we are still seeing a huge policy divergence between the China and the rest of the world. So I think those are contributing to the weakening factor from the fundamental perspective. Even from the technical perspective, we are seeing this time is different because of the collapse of the 4 points in China, right? The collapse of the four points actually make the shorting yuan quite easy to hold because of the positive carry. So that makes the current depreciation quite different from what we saw in the past few years. So therefore, I think the pressure is still on the upside for the dollar CNY to move. Maybe in the near term, 7.1 is something we can look at.
Okay, that would be an interesting move. And Tommy, I wanted to ask you about the outlook more generally. Do you think that we will see a change in China's COVID strategy coming out of the Party Congress? Because analysts have suggested that we will need to see movement on the zero COVID policy in order for China to reach the growth potential flagged this year.
Yeah, I think I agree with the assessment. I think China will gradually easing the COVID policy after the Party Congress. But even before the Party Congress, we are seeing some kind of the flexibility in terms of how they implement the zero COVID policy. For example, Chengdu just emerged from the lockdown. I mean, they've been locked down for about 2 weeks. So if you compare the Chengdu lockdown with Shanghai lockdown back in April and May, it seems like the duration of the lockdown and the magnitude of the lockdown is much milder now versus a few months ago. Therefore, it seems like China is moving towards some kind of the flexible implementation in terms of the zero COVID. I think that should be the good news. I think that should minimize the disruption to the economy in the coming months.